Right, here's a fairly short video from your notes. I'm on page 3 here, dealing with solving when you have a power greater than 2, and we're going to start taking in fourth roots, third roots, and all that fun stuff. So, this is the same process, example 1, example 2 here is the same process we did back in chapter 5, which is you have to divide by 2 first, divide by 2, to get this x to the fourth by itself. X to the fourth equals 81. Because then, instead of just taking the square root, which is what we've done in the past, we have to take the fourth root of 81. There's a little 4 out here. To cancel out x to the fourth. So you end up with x equals, when you have a fourth root like this, you need to make sure and not forget your plus or minus. So x will be equal to plus or minus 3 right here. Example 2 over here, we have to take the cube root first before we add 2 because this 2 is in parentheses. So the cube root and the 3 will cancel out. You end up with an x minus 2 equals the cube root of 10. Then I add 2 to both sides to get x equals the, forgot my cube, the cube root of 10 plus 2, which if you grab your calculator and punch in the cube root of 10, you'll get 2.15. Add 2 to that, you will end up with 4.15. The reason why I don't have to have a plus or minus here, but I did have to have a plus or minus here, is this concept. Normally, when we took the square root of 81, we had to include the plus or minus because 9 times 9 is 81, and so is negative 9 times negative 9. That is also 81. So, when we have the cube root, let's say of 27, the reason I don't have to include the negative 3 is because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. But if you were to go negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3, that is actually negative 27. So we don't include the plus or minus when it's a 3. The other times we won't is if it was the fifth root or the seventh root, or if you catch my drift quite yet, any odd power or any odd root, there is no plus or minus. On the flip side of that, not only is there no plus or minus, but you could have a negative in here. Where normally, when we did square roots, like when we did the square root of negative 36, that was equal to 6i. We got this I into play. When you have an odd root right here, like 3, the cube root of negative 27 is negative 3. There will be no i's for odd roots. Because you can get negative numbers with odd roots. So that's kind of the long story of why we do include the plus or minus here, but you do not include the plus or minus over here. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to try these 2 try-its. I'm going to put the answers on my website as well. And then also I'm going to put the answers, if you scroll all the way down on the bottom of page 3, I want you to try this 1, 2, and 3 checkpoint, as well as this 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to put those answers online as well. The next video will be dealing with 7.2, more properties of rational exponents.